November 1931 is kind to no one, but particularly unkind to some. Children, the unemployed, the homeless, and perhaps, if we're generous, the son of a discredited local physician, once a lauded mover and shaker among Boston high society, now relegated to a life in the shadows. His son, also a doctor, Dr. Edward Call Jr., yesterday experienced what is probably among the worst days of his life. Beginning with alcohol poisoning, perhaps from a tampered drink, perhaps from addiction. The creeping cold hand of death could be felt rising up inside. But before it could squeeze, young Dr. Edward Call found himself again and again and again in, if not other places, then in other times. Finally, exhausted, still sick, the young psychiatrist found his way to what proved frustratingly to only sometimes be the home of the era in which he lives in it. And struggling up the stairs through different times, he made his way to his journal to carefully record the experiences as he remembered them. Stumbling into bed, but before sleep could wash away the trials of the day, he heard a voice in his mind. Was it real? Was it memory? Was it magic? Now, the cold light of a November morning is streaming through dirty curtains over dirty window panes in an empty and ramshackle mansion. And someone is politely, if insistently, rapping with the door knocker.
Set up, and I have my 5 seconds of coming, from one state to the next state and kind of taking in, oh, it's morning. And it's almost immediate where I look around and I was really hoping to see my bedroom the way it looked when I fell asleep. I was really hoping to wake up this morning and spend the day figuring out what had happened to me last night, but now I'm in the middle of it again. I'm here again. Just so disappointed. And at first I'm going to wait a little bit, maybe a minute, hoping that whoever's knocking on my door is just going to give up. I assume they don't.
Tap, tap, tap.
I'm naked. I get up, find my clothes, I foolishly go to the closet and the off chance I've got more hanging there.
On the way to the closet, there's that twisting, spinning feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's your room, your closet, your clothes.
So the clothes that I left on the floor were nasty. I'd vomited all over myself. Um, now, now I'm in dream logic in my head, and I am going to grab and put on clothes as fast as I can because I don't know how much longer this closet is going to have clothes in it. So I immediately do that. Get dressed. Not know I don't know what I'm racing against. But I get dressed. Um, listen to see if anybody's knocking. Okay. Makes even less sense. But
And
I'm going to go
faintly
downstairs.
through the door, across the floors to your room, you can hear someone calling. Dr. Call?
Yeah, I head to the stairs. I take a quick peek at myself in the hall mirror, making sure I look somewhat presentable. Kind of do the hair, and head
Leftover
down.
pomade from the night before.
Yeah, just do the best I can. Head downstairs. If it was available to me, I think I would also have picked up my watch, um, and put it on, checking it for the time. I just know it's daytime, but I don't know what time of day it is.
Well, it stopped.
Cool. I leave it on then and head downstairs.
By the time you make all of these adjustments, tighten the strap, the door taps again. Tap, tap, tap. Dr. Call, it's really important.
Coming. Who is it?
Well, you probably don't remember me, but you know maybe my brothers. I'm Thomas O'Riordan.
November 1931 has a lot of people foolishly asking how it could get any worse. It's like they don't realize that the world is just waiting for some idiot to ask so it can show them just how much and in how many ways. Night after night, they skulk around or they brazenly saunter into the same speakeasies and body houses to distract themselves from the pain they are feeling and the fear that never lets them forget how precarious their particular ledge is, but still they ask. But there is a worse kind. Life can always make things worse, remember. The worst kind lives at the bottom of a rot-gut barrel and rolls and ruts in the bloody sawdust of cheap gin joints with their mouths shut, their eyes closed, and their wallets bulging with bills, feeding the chaos while crying crocodile tears over the milk they are spilling.
If I can, I'd like to be able to peek out my window. Can I get a kind of a side shot, see if it's just him or if he's got friends?
He's alone. He's back from the door. He's young, 20,
Okay.
younger, tired, very tired. And under his arm, he's carrying a package like wrapped in brown paper, tied with a
Mm-hmm.
string. Under one arm has his hat. In the other hand, good clothes, not great clothes, good clothes. In looks like he's had a late night too.
So I'll open the door, but in that sort of way of it's obvious I'm not going to open it all the way, right? Enough for my head to get there. I'll put my foot as a doorstop, my left foot as a doorstop, and just say, "What can I do you for?"
Well, it's two things. I I wanted to come to give you my condolences first and foremost, but I'm worried now that I'll be breaking that news.
Why? Why does that? Why do you think that that's the case? Why do you think I don't already know?
The newspapers and the state of the place.
Okay, break the news.
Well, as I said, my name is Thomas O'Riordan, and I I don't have the I've been working for your father, and I know that the relationship between the two of you is not the best, but he always spoke very highly of you, and always had someone watching out for you. But if you've been relying on that protection, I felt that you should know that, well, with his with his murder, the people that he worked for are very busy trying to sort through the pieces. He's getting more and more embarrassed as this conversation is not going the way that it should. He's shifting from foot to foot, and the obvious bulge of a gun, appears and disappears in the folds of his coat as he moves. Another young gangster.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you let me know, Thomas. Um, I'll reach out to his lawyer and sort through the business and help close out his affairs. Um, is there anything else is there anything you need from me or anything?
Well, this is it's kind of difficult. If the way that he died is being investigated very heavily. He didn't he didn't die alone. There was a lot of A lot of the mob was taken with him. And so the police have kind of been pushed into taking a very active role in investigating it. And you have quite a reputation around town as being in places where you shouldn't be.
Okay.
So, he would have been able to keep you out of it if he were alive, but he's not. So um, I thought he'd want me to warn you. And the second thing is, I wondered if I could come in and see if books like this one are in the house somewhere.
What do you need the books for, Thomas? This is my house.
You haven't heard about the books either?
Thomas, I feel like you're dancing around this. And quite frankly, I don't have time for it. So whatever this is and whatever it is you need or want from me, let just speak plainly. Let's get this over with.
I'm talking about the 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 books stolen from the auction house last week, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
I don't know anything about that, Thomas.
Oh, they were stolen by a pretty famous gangster. I know you know him. Mickey. Everyone calls him the Fist. It's always in the paper.
Okay.
Number 2 man in the O'Shaughnessy mob. He stole them. The whole city's been looking for them. Books are very dangerous. I've got one. And there are 2 more.
Okay. And why would they be here, Thomas? I have no business with the Fist.
Well, he thought himself really clever, you know? So I started thinking, where would Dr. Call not look for the books?
Thomas, if I let you come in here and look at my bookshelves and you don't find the books, will you leave? And if you do find the books, I don't give a shit about those books. You can leave then too.
I can take them with me.
Yeah, I've got other things I'm worried about right now. Books ain't one of them, especially with business involved with my father. This is all my dad's garbage, and I have no interest in cleaning it up. So
Understand?
this is his world, Thomas. This is your world. It's not mine. So, and I open up the door and kind of in a very indignant way, just go, place is yours. Go look.
Thanks, sir. He comes in, hat in hand,
Mm-hmm.
looks around. To use less of your time, maybe I show you this book. They're all
Sure.
the same.
That's great. Show it to me, Thomas.
A table.
Come into the kitchen. I'm going to start coffee anyway. But Thomas, we're not spending the day together. You understand that, right? You've got
Yes, sir.
like 10 minutes. Okay. So I'll go start some coffee.
Right. So
Kind of
you,
clear the counter off a little bit. Throw a couple bottles maybe that I've just kind of left out.
surprise a rat.
Yeah.
He doesn't pay that any attention. Puts the package wrapped in brown paper on the table. Pulls out a flick knife. Casually opens it. Cuts the twine. Flicks it. Puts it away. Spreads out the paper, revealing a folio, very thick, 2 leather buckles, Latin cover. It's embossed, not gilt from where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Can't read it, but that Latin script is obvious. Have you seen books like this? No, they came from the Gavigan collection, but you and your well, not you, but your family and the Gavigan family were tight.
So I'm going through the cabinets, like somehow I'm gonna find coffee in there. And it's one of those. So I open up the first cabinet, I'm like, oh shit, that's right. And kind of close the cabinet. I walk back over, I look at this thing. Thomas, I haven't seen these books. It's beautiful. Um, I can see why someone would want to steal them. I'm sure they're worth a lot of money to somebody. Um, you can go back to my sitting room. I don't even know if I still have any books on those shelves.
You couldn't find any coffee?
No.
I don't know if I should give this to you, but I got some Irish whiskey.
Ugh. I really had it in my mind that I was going to not drink until I've sorted out what the hell is going on. And he's got that right there.
Right there in a nice silver flask.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like first, let's find out what kind of willpower remains to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first roll I'd like from you, and that's power multiplied by 3.
Yep. So let's see. Where's my power? So 33.
Yeah.
23.
Okay. It's within your power to resist.
Yeah, and I struggle with it. I struggle with it. And I think what pushes me over the edge and allows me to resist is it's going to keep Thomas here longer, right? Because if I start drinking with him, I'm going to keep drinking with him. And it's just no. No, Thomas, I appreciate that. Any other
He
day,
puts it away.
any other day I would. It's kind of you.
And the second thing I ask of you is percentile.
Okay. Not as good. 87.
Okay. Says, well, I would like to see the shelves, but I'm betting if the other books are, or even just one of them is here, it's going to be hidden somewhere where you wouldn't normally go, like in the coal chute or something like that.
You got 10 minutes, Thomas. I'm not hiding
Well,
anything.
I just want to impress on you. It's kind of a matter of life and death.
Okay.
And that voice drifts through your memory again.
Then
That strange tattooed faced man and his order to seek out, find these books.
So I'm playing dumb with Thomas. I don't know if I've bought this yet. Definitely having Thomas show up and talk about these same books, what I assume are the same books, is putting some credence behind whoever the hell this guy is. And I think with that reminder popping back into my head so vividly, I was going to let Thomas have the run of the place, and I was just going to sit here in the kitchen, or maybe even go out onto the front porch, front step, and just sit there till he was done. Don't even want to see what you're doing. There's a all right. Let's go. Where do you want to go? I'll show you wherever we want. So I'm gonna observe this process now.
Let's start with the shelves. That'll take the least amount of time. All these books are supposed to look exactly the same.
Okay. So I'll take him to the sitting room where the shelves are.
This is a very short examination.
I'm sure.
You sure you're doing all right, Dr. Call?
Been better, Thomas. I've been better.
My mother wouldn't mind if you came by the house and shared a meal with us. It's least we could do. Your father's kept us out of the poorhouse more times than I can count.
You know what? It'd be good to see her. Be good to see your brothers. So yeah. Ask her when I'll be there. She's a good woman.
All right. The basement then.
Okay. I'm going to go down first. Pull the string at the bottom of the steps.
Okay. As you pull the string, light flares, and you are in a desert.
Immediately turn around. Is Thomas there?
No. And this is harsh. The sand is not sand beneath your feet. It's crunching like ground glass.
Okay.
The sky, neither dawn nor dusk nor noon, not morning, not afternoon. And there's the arc, like the arc of the Milky Way, leading up from the horizon. But stars are winking out.
Wind?
None. Scent? None. Temperature? None.
Is there anything? Is it just featureless? Is there anything that's
What do you do?
is there something to walk to?
Do you walk?
I think that I want to. I don't want to just stand here. And I'm going to look for anything that's different.
Ground rolls, glittering. In the distance, it takes on a reddish sheen. But up close, there's no color. The only real feature is that curve of stars arcing up into the sky, every moment getting thinner and more faded, and with each disappearance, this distant sound, almost like pipes, musical pipes. Warbles, twists through the still air in an utterly nonsensical tune.
You sit down. And I think for the first time, I'm not going to fight this. So whatever this is, whatever's happening to me, I give up. You win. Because now I have I have no more agency now. I have nothing else. I have no grip on reality anymore. I might have been able this morning to piece together last night had I woken up in my home when it was my home, and I haven't. My father's been murdered. Some old childhood acquaintance is bringing old books to. I'm done. I just sit down.
As your weight comes in contact with the sand, it feels very much like a wooden step. And that piping, that mad piping, is a young man's voice saying, Dr. Call, are you dizzy? Are you all right?
I'm going to turn around, stand back up, turn around. Thomas, there's some weird shit happening to me right now.
Do you need a hospital?
No. What, just indulge me for a second. What did you just see me do?
Sit down. I saw you suddenly sit down.
Did I say anything?
No. Well, you made a sound.
Okay. Thomas, I feel like you're not telling me everything. And something just happened to me. And I need to figure out whether it's you in the book that are why, or if it's just a coincidence. So, other than the way this book looks, what do what else do I need to know or to understand? Why is these books a matter of life or death? Why are you not the first person to mention these goddamn books to me?
Not the first person.
No, Thomas.
You want to talk about it down here?
Let's finish what we were doing. Let's look for the books and then we'll go back upstairs.
I'll explain why we look.
Great.
Okay. First off, I don't know what you know about your father and the old days. He was pretty important in uh, some group like the Masons. And something that happened ruined his reputation. Maybe you probably know all about that, but maybe what people don't really know, maybe you know, maybe you don't. And no offense, but we, well, they use things like this book to do real magic.
You told me that 2 days ago, Thomas. I wouldn't have believed you.
A bad thing's been happening, Dr. Call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to me too.
Time slipping on me, Thomas. I'm losing time. And not like I had a long night losing time. Not like I can't remember going to bed last night losing time. I'm losing years, Thomas. I'm slipping between time.
Oh, me, I'm like waking up. You know, like when you're so tired you can't keep your eyes open. You know that feeling?
Yeah.
And you're fading in and out of the conversation. And you think it's only been a minute, but it's been longer. That's what's been happening to me. People are looking at me funny and to be honest, the last thing I remember I was with the guy I'm protecting. And then I was in this neighborhood with this book. And I thought, well, while I was here, I should do my duty, and and maybe there's a way out of this if I could get the other books.
I think I want to help you find the books, Thomas. But I need to know that there's a promise that comes with that. Do you know what to do with these books if we find them? Do you know how to make it stop?
I think that whatever's trapped in these books, yeah. I mean, I know you went to England to become a psychiatrist. I know how crazy that sounds. I think whatever's trapped in these books, if we can destroy them, that's the best case. I mean, you know the maybe the Morgans will hunt us down and kill us because we destroyed them, and maybe whatever's left of the O'Shaughnessy's or the people I work for, maybe they'll be upset, or I don't know, but I just feel like ever since these books became a part of my life, nothing good has happened.
Okay, Thomas. I'm not finding anything down here.
Just a lot of spiders and coal dust, sir.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's any footprints. And
I can't even remember the last time I was down here, Thomas.
we don't have much coal, so must be pretty cold in the house. But there's some that wood over there in the corner.
And the idea of like making things better for myself has not crossed my mind until he said that, and it's so obvious to me. Like I don't have to be cold.
We can carry up some. It's seasoned. It'd be great. There's even some kindling here.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea, Thomas. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna go over
living
and start
room
picking
or
up some wood.
upstairs or
Yeah, let's go to the sitting room. Let's with the fireplace.
So he takes his coat off and puts it on the railing of the stairs. He's just got his shirt sleeves are nowhere near as neat as his outer
Sure.
coat. There's muck, blood,
Yeah.
and a very big gun.
Yeah, I've brushed up against Dad's world. That I don't think that bothers me. That's part of the uniform.
So he starts, loading himself up with cordwood.
Yeah, I'll do the same. It feels really good to talk to somebody else about this that doesn't look at me the way Dr. J did or Mr. J did on the corner. Like, and it creates for no rational reason. I instantly trust Thomas now, just because I've been able. This is the closest explanation. As crazy it is, it explains something, and it's corroborated now. So yeah, I'm picking up wood, and heading upstairs, start a fire.
So, as tired as both of you are, you do have the resilience of youth on your side. And it's a quick matter to bring up a couple armloads of wood and put them in the brass holder next to the fireplace. Certainly a lot of discarded newspapers around. A little bit of kindling. Lighter. That warmth starts to seep into the sitting room. He's kept an eye on that book the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy I've been protecting is... I think he's obsessed with this book. I caught him talking to it.
Do I know this man, Thomas?
I wouldn't know. He owns an antique store on Newberry Street.
Weird person for you to be in charge of protecting, don't you think?
Yeah, but he saved my life twice in one night, and it's hard to say. If you saw this guy, he's as soft as the day is long, and manicure, and can't climb a flight of stairs without being out of breath. But he stood up to Morgan himself for me.
And what did Morgan do?
He backed down.
Jesus.
But I mean, there were well, anyway, there was some violence.
Thomas, why do we have to get the books together to destroy them? Why can't we just start with this first book?
Oh, that's the weirdest thing, sir. Okay. So, real quick. I don't know if you met him, but Albert Gavigan, nobody knows that he disappeared, but he disappeared. Like,
Okay.
disappeared from the world, disappeared. Except for his leg. So there's this reporter guy, right? He works for the Post, McSweeney. And he found part of Mr. Gavigan and this PI named Eddie Driscoll, and he's got the office next to your dad's place.
Yeah, I remember seeing his name. Yeah.
All right, so they find this book with only its covers, right? No pages.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a couple days ago, and the pages grew back. They grew, and he gets a hold of himself again. Maybe he was going to swear, something like that. They grew back. I saw it with my own eyes, believe me or not. But I can. This is something I can prove because we can. But I don't. I don't
So
recommend that because
you're saying if we burn
ended
this
up.
book, it's going to come back. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm saying. I'm saying that Mr. Smalls. Saying that Mr. Smalls tried to burn the book, and it burned him instead.
Okay.
And I'm saying that the pages all got ripped out, and they were doing experiments, and they ended up with 2 books instead of 1.
Are the other 2 books the same book, Thomas?
Exactly the same book.
How do we know there's only 3 of them?
That's why we got to act fast, because we don't know.
All right. Fine.
There's some awful stuff in this book.
Yeah. Do you have a place to hide this book?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I really don't think the books are here, Thomas, but I've got nothing until this gets figured out. And it sounds like you need someone to keep an eye on you, and I really need someone to keep an eye on me because of what's happening to me and where I'm finding myself when this happens. So where can we hide the book?
It's just small enough. If we wrap it up again in paper, I was thinking we could put it in a locker at the bus station, train station.
Let's do it. And then we're going to my dad's office.
That's still a crime scene.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can go to Dad's place. I don't know, Thomas. I unless
That's a
you
good
think,
idea.
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, let's go
to search there for the books.
Yeah, or get a sense of what might be. I mean, I know I can access Dad's house. I've got keys, so I can get into Dad's place.
That's possible. And
Okay.
then,
Where were you, Thomas? Where were you going to look?
well, I was hoping to find. I was going to go to Mickey's apartments and his cottage. He's got a bunch of mistresses.
And okay, Thomas, you're farther down this than I am. I'm just grasping. I don't know. but if you want company, you've got company. So let's go. I'm following you.
All right. Well, we'll attract less attention if you shave and get cleaned up.
I'm gonna have to do that somewhere else, Thomas. I don't have anything here. I would need to borrow a razor. I don't.
That's a good reason to go to your dad's then.
All right.
Or, well, I don't know if the cops would have it staked out or not.
How about your mom's place? You got razors there?
Now you're talking. And she's probably desperate to know where I am.
All right. Let's go there.
Okay. So he puts his coat back on. He's very careful to brush off his hands and make himself as presentable as he can. And I should be able to hail a cab at the corner, right?
Yeah. Yep. Thomas, I don't have any. I don't really have any money.
Don't worry.
Okay.
You stay a couple of steps back. Hail the cab. Then you close in.
Great.
There's a chance that it won't be a cabbie we can trust.
Okay.
Morgan's people are everywhere.
Why don't we?
I'll wave you
Yeah.
off if I get a
wave me
feeling.
off.
And if it's one specific guy,
Okay.
I'll kill him. We'll take the cab.
What to say? You've got. Yeah. Yeah. I'm. I kind of look around. Like, like in a normal world, like before I leave the house, I'm gonna make sure I've got make sure I've got my wallet, my keys, and just kind of like, and I just look around and realize like there's nothing. Like, let's go. I'll sit here on the stoop. It's high enough. I can see over the fence. I can see you. And if I see you get in the cab, I'll come over, and then you can just pick me up right here out front. Is that all right?
All right. Adjusts his hat, and he purposefully, with his package rewrapped and tied, heads toward the corner. Doesn't take too long where he's able to flag down a cab. He leans in, turns, waves. He gets in the cab.
Walk out to the sidewalk.
Get in.
Check
Cab's in
out the
good
caddy,
shape.
obviously. Yeah.
Middle-aged guy nearing the end of his shift, looks a little tired, looks a little annoyed. The condition that you're in doesn't say anything. In that way, that set of jaw, he's not saying anything.
Yep.
And he has to do a U-turn, which he does. He's making his way to where Thomas has advised him to go. You're both in the back. Cab's in the front. And Tommy's body language changes. He was enjoying the comfort of the seat, leaned a little bit up against the side of the cab. He doesn't want to close his eyes,
Mm-hmm.
but this young man is way out on the end of his rope, you know, trying to stay awake. And then he sits very erect. His eyes are blazing with curiosity and a hard line to his mouth, which wasn't there before, like the expression of someone else erasing the expression that belongs on the face. And his head turns toward you, and the young man's brilliant blue eyes are dark. And this is just that little bit too much in an already distressing day. Percentile.
76.
It's a minor shock, all things considered, but a shock nonetheless. And as the man opens his mouth to speak, I say the man because it no longer in any way resembles Tommy or Reardon. You are tumbling down the road. But a road that is dirt, horse droppings, carriages, clopping hooves. Behind you, you can hear a man call out, and pull back, and you hear the rearing and the neighing of horses.
How's he dressed?
Like you see in old pictures from when you were a kid.
And I'm just on the ground? Yep, sir, I'm sorry.
And, you know, the stream of curses. You know, where'd he come from? Get out of the way. You know,
yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah. I stand up and quickly get off the road, get out of his way, and just hope that he just keeps going.
Nobody is dressed like you. No one's hair is cut like yours or dressed like yours.
Could this be the city?
It's definitely Boston, but Boston
It is. Okay.
100 years ago?
Yeah. Try to get oriented again. Looking for street signs.
You're definitely on the same street. And
okay.
The commons should be over there.
Okay. 100 years ago. It's 100 years ago. You get that fleeting thought in my head, and I'm almost just so disgusted with myself that this thought would go into my head, but the thought comes and goes. Like, well, at least I get to drink. And then I'm like, all right, no. I want to walk towards the oldest police station I know of.
Well, that's a bit of a challenge in your state. So let's check knowledge, your know roll. Right, that's your intelligence times 5, or your education times 5. Sorry.
Yeah. It'll be a real hard one for me to miss. 63 out of a 99.
There you go.
At least I'm smart.
Yeah. Now, If it were 10, 20 years ago, it'd be easier to spot exactly what
Mm-hmm.
year it is. 100 years is a ballpark figure. Right. But there's some landmark buildings that you can recognize, so you know when it isn't. So we're looking at 1830,
Okay.
1810.
How long was my house? How old was my place?
It, it might be there, not all of it.
And do I have any awareness of like my great grandparents and where have we been? Has my family been, either my mom's side or my dad's side, been here long enough? Or did we move into the city? Do I even know that? These are questions that I
Are
don't know whether I
suddenly
ever would have
suddenly
asked.
occurring to you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more reminder of what a broken family means.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother's people, she always said, old Boston family. But the house, maybe Dad bought the house.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to draw attention.
I'm gonna cover myself up like as much as I can with my coat. Even though that I'm sure is standing out too, but um I'm gonna keep my head down. I might actually mess up my hair so it doesn't look like another style of hair. It looks like just messed up hair, which is timeless, right? The timelessness of a vagrant look.
Women are crossing right off of the side of the road where it's firmer and drier and out into where it's muddier and more
Mhm.
perilous with droppings.
Yeah, like the thought of going to the cops was very much tied to me giving up. I don't know what I'll do if I find any of my old kin, but I've got nothing else. So just try to, whether it's mom's people or dad's people, like, I mean, 100 years ago, maybe it might be a place that I visited, as a child, going to visit grandparents. Let's go there. Um, mom's people were Boston. Maybe that's what I do because it's oddly farther away from my dad, which is why I'm here. So yeah, let me see if I can remember. I want to try to remember just something, something tied to mom's people.
Right. Well, you know how to do that. That litany of names, right? Family tree, grandpa's name, grandma's family name.
Hmm.
But where do they live? as you're moving, keeping out of trouble, there is a man with a sandwich signboard looking for farm hands.
Question for you, sir.
You need work?
Yeah, but I'm not dressed for it. So are you able to solve that?
Pretty fine clothes you have there. You just come in from the old world? He laughs.
No, I found these and they've been keeping me warm. But yeah, I need work. And
He looks at
a
you,
change of clothes.
looks at you very closely. Leans in. Sharp, intelligent eyes, clean shaven. Face. Just a little unusual. Sniffs. Where are you from?
Here, but been down on my luck for a long time.
No, sir. Maybe someone like you should try old man Scott.
I'm not familiar with him, sir.
Head out Cambridge way. Keep going. Scott Farm. It's good work.
Is there a chance of a meal with that?
Yes. He pays his hands well. He feeds them too.
It's kind of you, sir.
Well, it's not real charity. If it was real charity, I'd hire you myself. But I'm sorry to say, I don't trust you. Don't like the look of you.
I understand that, sir.
All right then. Be on your way.
And I will. And I think what's happening right now for me is I've got to very quickly take care of basic needs, right? So now I am in a foreign place. And I not only do not know anybody, but I'm an alien at this point. So I have gone to food and shelter. Food and shelter. If I don't have food and shelter, then nothing happens. So let's get food and shelter. And honestly, I don't even know whether I'm going to make it to the farm. But let's go.
It gets warmer with the exercise, but it gets harder because your body wants something that it doesn't have.
I've had swings at sobriety before. I know this feeling. And it very rarely in my life would come up without unintentionally. If I wasn't trying to sober, then I would never let myself get to here, right? I would keep
Right.
myself well maintained. So this is a feeling that's part of me intentionally not drinking, which, starting from this morning, like if I've ever needed a reason to try again, this is a pretty freaking good one. So, um, I know it's going to be hard. Honestly, some labor would help me. It helps distract me and my body. Um, and if I can get in a couple hours of hard work, then I can maybe even sleep if I have a place to sleep. And when I'm sleeping, I'm not craving. Last time I tried to get sober, I was sleeping 15 hours a day. It would get so bad that I would just go and lay down and just close my eyes and just not open them and just wait to sleep, because that hours would then pass without me feeling this way. So
Okay. By the time the very simple instructions of how to reach the Scott farm have paid off in distance, it's well into the afternoon. Sun is warm. It's not November. It's July or August. So much life. Flowers. Bees. Birds. Vibrant greens. Over there in your day, there's a factory.
mhm.
Tall buildings. Low housing. Crowded housing. Pavement.
As I'm walking, I'm kind of walking off the road a little bit and looking for berries or an apple tree or something, because as much as I'm craving alcohol, I am pretty pretty freaking hungry too. Not enough to eat grass or anything like silly like that. That's not where I am. But I mean, if there's an apple tree or something along the way, or like I said, some berries I could pick.
Another hour on. Raspberries and blackberries, a tangle of them. Hornets, bees lazily buzzing around through the long coils of grass, right? All intertwined and tangled. Wild patch.
I'm carrying my jacket at this point. So I'm picking and eating, but like also once I've got my mouth full of a couple, I'm throwing some into the pocket of my jacket that I'm carrying. So it's kind of a one for now, two for later, one for now, two for later process. These shoes I'm not supposed to be walking miles in dirt in these shoes. And um, I might take a minute here. Just kind of fuel up a little bit. Um, listening for a stream or something, maybe to get some hydration. But then I guess I'm a farmhand now, so I'm gonna keep walking to Scott's farm.
Okay. round toward dinner time. It's a small, nicely painted sign, handmade mailbox, hand carved Scott, and a large but modest in design farmhouse. Paint's weathered. No sign of a woman's touch.
Mm-hmm.
No curtains in the windows. No flower beds. If there were a woman of the house, stoop would be less dusty.
Yep.
Flower boxes, that kind of thing. There'd be no laundry line. There's a line of farmhands coming in from the fields.
Gonna kind of see if I can find someone with a friendly face and just say, hey fella, where's a guy go to find some work? Who
He
do I
nods
talk
to the
to?
back. He nods to the back of the line. Fellow is perked up. Says, "I'm Scott."
Mr. Scott, been walking here all day, sir. Uh, gentleman in town said he had a sandwich board looking for farm hands and said you might have a need for me. Work hard, don't need much.
No beard, like you. No beard.
No, sir, if you can give me a place to shave, I'll shave it off, sir.
The man with the sandwich board. He had no beard.
Oh, no, sir. No, he had no beard.
Yeah. Said he didn't like the look of you, so he sent you my way, right? They're all smiling and nodding their heads.
Yeah, I'm really embarrassed, but so I take a half a second. What's happening to me right now is I'm getting knocked down peg after peg after peg after peg. But I've got nothing to hold on to as I'm going down. So yes, sir. That's what he said, sir.
Well, don't you worry about it. That man's opinion isn't worth spit. He spits. Call. Those guys. Well, what do we call you?
Call me Ed, sir.
All right, Ed. Not Edward. Ed.
Whatever you prefer, sir.
What do
Just
you
don't call me
prefer,
late for
son?
dinner. Trying to add some levity to this.
Oh, we have a comedian. Here's how it's going to work, Ed. Tonight, you're going to wash up, because no offense, you're fragrant. You and John here, he'll help you sweep out a stall. Right? Then tomorrow, we'll build another bunk. There'll be quite a lot of labor lost for your physical comfort. That'll be all right if you work hard. All right, then.
It's kind of you, sir.
You go get washed up. John will show you where. Some better clothes. Not so sure about the shoes. You might have to go barefoot for a while, but anyway, John, you bring him in to supper when he's all cleaned up. Young man with big gap tooth grin nods that he will. Right? It's all like patchy sunburn and freckles. And the rest of them continue their march toward the house.
I'll go with John. I don't immediately bring this up, but at some point I'm going to say, Mr. Scott mentioned that the guy in town that directed me up here, his last name was Call.
Yeah. He's right about that, I betcha. Bright eyes. Snake oil salesman.
What you know about him?
Well, not much. He he used to come around here peddling potions and ointments and buttons and but then he fell in with she's Mrs. Call now, but she was the widow Smith then. And considerably improved his station, if you know what I mean.
So he was looking for work too. He got a farm, or?
Yep, Widow Smith has a very nice cattle farm. He wants to call it a ranch, but dairy. It's all dairy.
Yeah, I'm just going to stow that away.
So he shows you the ropes. Dinner is plain, hearty. Before anyone's allowed to eat, grace is said. Very simple, very heartfelt. At the end of dinner, farmer takes you aside and says, "It's Friday. We work on Saturdays. Sunday's the Lord's day. We'll be going into church, all of us. We'll be helping out the parson. We'll be coming back. If you know how to read, well, that would help me some with the ones who can't. If you don't know how to read, well, I'm going to help you learn."
No, sir. I had a better life before. Actually been to school. I can read good. Can help you with your books too if you need to, sir. I can.
Well, maybe, but that sort of thing requires trust, and trust is earned.
Understand. But yeah, I'm happy to teach anybody.
You get some sleep. See you in the morning. Now, all night long, the alcohol is whispering to you. And the biting creatures that come looking for you in the hay. And the various barnyard odors. Lots of things to worry at the weak part of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, whatever it was that the snake oil salesman Call didn't like about this place, honest working folk.
There's a big part of me that hopes this is the end. That there's no more jumping. That this has taken me away from all of it. And I really like that nobody knows who the hell I am or who the hell I was. I'm ready. I'm ready to reset.
Okay. That first night is hard and requires an active will, which is power.
Mm-hmm. Remind me, that's 3 times my power,
At
right?
present, it's 3 times your power.
Yep.
33.
88.
Okay. It's a very long night because there is no alcohol,
Yeah.
but there are men who've been through it. Next day brings new haircut, hand-me-down clothes, pair of boots that aren't too big, and lots of hard work. And so the second night, it's your constitution
Mm.
that matters. Exhaustion or addiction. Constitution times 5.
45. There we go. 40.
Unfortunate for you. You have enough strength left at the end of the night to suffer through another night.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there are men who've been there. Bible verses, secretly whispered body stories. The next day at work is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And sleep. The morning after, rested, with the addiction whispering in the back of your mind. What do you do? Can you commit to staying? Where no one knows your name? Where there are acts of kindness? Or that road that stretches back to the bars, the taverns, good food, better clothes.
This is just enough punishment for me that I'm going to stay.
All right.
Yeah. I'm glad it's not easy.
All right. You are a quick learner. Bible study, books. Scott has a fine but old collection of literature, kept in a very small bookshelf, a place of reverence. So nighttime, after dinner, is passed pleasurably with reading passages. Right? Men trying to darn their socks, right? Patch their clothes, trying to figure out how that skill works. There's no Mrs. Scott. There's no Mother Scott.
Mm-hmm.
But you have seen gravestones. And late in the afternoon, if the work is finished early, Farmer Scott, which is how he likes to be referred to as Farmer Scott, has been planting trees. Separate the house from the fields. Planting out gentle winding paths. One of the young men is a carpenter. He's carefully sketching delicate benches. Scott's saving up to get the cast iron work done for the braces. Saving up to buy money for paint. That first week passes. Second time to church. And the sermon seems to be pointed directly at you. Congregation doesn't like strangers. Congregation doesn't seem to like the Scots very much.
Hmm.
No one says anything. No one sits in the same pew. But the parson speaks about the story of the Good Samaritan, which causes some uncomfortable shifting in the front row, in the middle rows. Then it's back on the farm. Home cooked meal, washing. Can you stay here?
If they'll have me, yeah. Um, I am now there long enough that I'm also going to see if I can be of help without a scythe or a shovel. I can't help myself. I want to move up the hierarchy, try to demonstrate, my education, try to demonstrate my value. I think the one advantage I have is I am considerably more educated than everybody, including Farmer Scott. So don't want to obviously in no way diminish or threaten him anyway, but I think that's what I'm trying to do. Starting off by really, in a somewhat organized way, on Sunday afternoons and in the evenings, teaching, kind of returning a lot of the favors of the fellow farm hands who have helped me get through the tough nights. So I think that's where my focus is. Hoping that Farmer Scott will recognize that. Scheming a little bit too. I think I'm trying to figure out, is there a way to play my advantage of not only being better educated than everybody here, but no one was going to happen to Boston in the next 50, 100 years. And I was actually about to Google it. I don't know if there's any type of Boston Stock Exchange or anything like it. It's one of those things that now, you think about the hierarchy, right? Like, all right, now I've got food and shelter. I've got a level of safety here now. So now my mind starts to wander. Now I start thinking beyond that.
Right.
Founded in 1834, the Boston Stock Exchange.
By now you've learned to date.
Yeah.
And not quite 100 years in the past. It's almost 1840. Scott is a man who has a lot to say about greed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to say about money and the opportunity of the city. He's a man who seems to be marked by family tragedy. There's got to be some reason why some of his family is not in the churchyard.
Mm-hmm. And I'll try to find that out over time without being intrusive.
Okay. Let's try that. What do the farmhands know?
Yeah.
How would you get it out of them?
In the middle of comfortable conversation, maybe while I'm teaching, one-on-one, try to be casual and just, how long you been here? Um, I saw the gravestones. That seems awful. Farmer Scott seems like a good man. Um, and then just, what happened? I, what happened here? What happened to him?
Him. Nothing. Back about 100 years ago, his grandfather was branded as a witch. No one around here ever forgets.
Yeah. No, no, I get that. That's, what they say, sins of the father, right? That's awful for him. But that's he's the one that pays that. So I now will want an opportunity with Farmer Scott at some point. Now armed with that information. And in the context of talking about, hey, John can read the Bible now. He's come a long way,
Well,
just want
I'll ask
you
him
to
to
know
read
that.
after dinner.
Yes, sir. I think you'll be impressed, sir. He may not know everything, but he can pronounce everything. And honestly, I
No
think
mean
his
feat in
readings,
the Bible.
yeah, we might have to explain some things to him. We might have questions, but at least he's reading it. Takes a lifetime to understand it, if you know what I mean.
I know
Farmer
what you
Scott.
mean. I've spent that lifetime.
Yep. Farmer Scott, this is gonna be a weird question. So I mentioned that I'm learned. And
It's pretty obvious, young man.
had the drink not taken me, I don't know if I'd be here, but I'm thankful that I am here. That whatever path I ended up on brought me here, and I appreciate that. But um, so sir, I can read old languages. Um, don't know if you got I appreciate you letting me read what you have here, but I don't know. Do you have any old books? Books maybe that you didn't know how to read?
No. Well, we got a book of French poetry, but I'm hanging on to it in case we fall on hard times and I have to sell it.
Well, if you ever want, Farm Scott, I can take a swing at translating it for you. If I don't know if you're a man who likes poetry.
I find that the people on the farm and in my normal day are not the sort I would want to apply it to.
I think I get your meaning, sir. Yep. Um. Okay. Well, I guess I just want you to know that I can do that. So if ever you need or hear of books that need reading, people ever need translating or anything, trying to do the best to pay back, all the charity I've received here in the last weeks.
That's good.
Would it ever be possible for me to maybe find time in town? Maybe go take a half a day, and a horse, and maybe, go down to that library. I could bring books back, and we'd have new things that none of the crews ever heard. Could read that. Um,
Well, do you think you're up to it?
yeah, yeah. Or if you got business down there, I can help you with. Um, I owe you, sir. And don't get me wrong, fixing fence posts and stuff is something that I'm happy to do, but I might be uniquely valuable to you because of my life before.
I will pray on it.
I think there's a small window where I considered finding religion, and that's when I was at my most desperate, which is only a few weeks ago. um, I think that that's past though. So I play the part of being a man of faith, but just like 150 years later, I don't have that.
It's easy enough with the type of schooling you've been through.
Yeah. But I understand the part it plays, right? So I definitely lean into it with Farmer Scott. So I take advantage of his faith.
A couple days later, one of the older hands comes limping back from the south field, right through the young line of trees, the young forest to be, the wood, as Farmer Scott calls it. All out of breath, his face is flushed. He says, "We gotta bring rope. John's fallen in a hole."
No hesitation.
Right.
Okay, good Lord. If there's anybody who's closest thing I have to a friend right now is him.
Scott's ringing the bell, men are coming in from everywhere, gathered by the barn. The old man, Jack, leads you back the way he came, through the saplings, down into the field, across the field, where there is a gaping hole in the earth and the distant sound of rushing water down below. Now, the angle of the sun casts all of that into darkness. And the condition of the ground is perilous.
Does this look newly formed or is this old?
fresh. You can smell that fresh earth
Mm-hmm.
smell. So we were just walking.
So I don't ask. Take the rope. I start tying it around my waist, and say, I need enough men that can hold me. But I'm
So they
going.
start
Yep. I need you to
bracing
lower me down.
themselves. They take you at face value. It's the first step that's the trickiest. Getting from solid ground across the fragile earth into dangling below the lip. Dexterity times 5.
45, 46, 48. Whoa, hello, 16.
You do it. The rope is rubbing against the lip. And as you get lowered down, the angle of the sunlight is casting your shadow against a close wall. It's maybe a foot of crumbling earth, and then this long sloping wall. But behind you, off to the sides, nothing. And that sound of rushing water, that feel of cold air, despite the late summer day. And they lower you down, and the rope is rubbing. They lower you down, and the rope is rubbing. And they lower you down, and the rope is rubbing. And it breaks.
Can I spend luck?
Not in this edition. And as the sound of water gets louder and louder and louder and louder, and all sense of up and down and left and right is lost, you crash into the speakeasy.
Oh, you're an ass.
Stella's at the bar, not paying you any attention. And your initials are carved in the bottom of the stool. We'll close our session for tonight.
Oh. I knew what was going to happen, didn't know how it was going to happen or when it was going to happen. I'm going to miss Farmer Scott, though.
You like him?
Yeah, was he new?
What do you mean?
Is he somebody that you knew before we started playing? Was he
Before we
part of
started
your prep?
He's a not really. He's not part of my prep. No.
Gotcha.
He's a logical extension of what I know happened.
Yep.
A couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, I know I'm having fun. Are you having fun? And I don't mean just playing with me, but like with what you're doing. Because what you're doing right now is super ambitious.
It's like coming home again. This is what I always used to do.
Yeah.
So taking this particular edition out for a spin is really refreshing. It's even more life affirming that I don't really have to look anything up,
Yeah, I bet.
you know, and it's just it all clicks.
Great.
But the
I've purposely
different
not been
branches are
watching
cool.
the other plays.
That's probably wise.
Yeah, the only thing, and it was kind of fun though, but like I've seen the thumbnails, right? So the gangster, taxi driver, um,
Oh,
are ringing.
there's no taxi driver, but yes, there's a gangster and a treasury
Uh,
agent.
yeah, I guess knowing that there's probably names that are being spoken to me that are part of other plays is kind of cool.
Yes, yeah, and I am very much looking forward to. In the old days, like with big multi-game, multi-generation, troop style World of Darkness sessions, for example, I've I figured there would really be no way for anyone to ever get the full sense of what they didn't themselves play through.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the same just me telling them, well, what really happened was, or what was also going on at the same time. It's not the same. But in this instance, they will be able to go back
I gotta tell you, I mean,
and watch
I
it all.
think I grossly underestimated the value of having recordings of my plays. Um, of course, I stream on my channel, and I had reasons for starting that and to show plays, and it wasn't the money. Um, and I think one of the biggest things that I love is being able to go back and watch them.
See what people did,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
they did it.
and well, what's incredible to me is, we're spinning plates when we're running the game. And when you get a chance to watch the playback, I'm amazed at the stuff I miss as the GM,
Right.
right? Things that were said or expressions that were made that I was busy multitasking and trying to keep the plates spinning. It's also really cool and has helped me because it's helped me identify what my players are grabbing onto that I
Right.
never thought they would, right? And then being able, as I prep for the next session, going, this is where Troy really grabbed onto this. And which means I need to follow him and I need to run that down. Whereas, with my home game, with my buddies here at the house, I would that wouldn't happen, right? I wouldn't
Right.
if I
You
missed
have
it,
no
I
way to.
missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool to be able to do it. And when we finish this up at some point, I can't wait to go back and watch the Avengers assemble, that the idea that you have all of these other different things that are culminating in the same world. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And so my prep, I don't know if you know, my prep is very minimal
Mhm.
now, other than remembering what happened. And my prep was creating characters.
Mhm.
So I created some of the PCs. I created all of the NPCs, or NPCs have been rationalized into existence because they're obviously part of a player character's identity,
Yep.
right? And so in a free moment, I will create them. Like one of the players uh, has frequently referenced his aunt Tilly, and I don't know if she'll ever appear in the campaign, but she's in my notes. I have
Yeah.
made Aunt Tilly, and based on his descriptions, and updating her every time he has another horror story or look of terror about Aunt Tilly and that kind of thing. So
That's really cool.
that's what my prep is. But my prep is calendar.
Mm,
So starting from the earliest point of play, and today we now have a new earliest point of play, which would be a little difficult to fit in my calendar. But, but the earliest point of play, what happened? I make note of what character was there and basically what they did. And what's been really interesting to see is how, just like in fantasy fiction where there's ebbs and whirls and flows to time, a lot of events are happening on the same days.
yeah.
So it's that's something I'm looking forward to revealing at the end. Like, look at this Wednesday here where like there's one line saying this thing happened, and then look at this Friday over here where I'm using like a 3-point font and it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and if it will spoil anything, don't answer this, but am I the only one jumping time?
I can't answer that.
Okay, that's fair. Yep. Because what I find what is interesting to me from my perspective, meta is the echoes forward, right? So wherever they are, the other players are in time and space. If I'm one of, I know I'm slipping time. I'll be interested with your calendar how things echo forward.
Right.
That could be very interesting as a GM, I think, to be looking at that too. So that's cool.
One thing I can tell you is that there is an inciting incident which has effects for those who were present during it. And for all of the characters except yours, it was a roll of would they or would they not suffer these effects.
Right.
But because I knew that you and I would probably have trouble matching our schedules because it was looking like it was going to be Sunday and my Sundays are a mess,
Yep.
then I applied the effect
Good.
that you were experiencing
Yeah.
to you.
It's cool. It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of
Was it?
fun.
Because
Yeah.
he's a character that it would be easy not to like, I think.
I don't know if I like him. But but I don't need to like my characters to enjoy the play. My favorite, and it's something I only get when I play with you. But keep in mind that is part of that is I don't get to play very often as a right. I'm usually running games, but I think hands down what I look forward to the most is focused on the fiction, conversations in the moment. Like I feel like I really play when you and I are together. I know you're comfortable staying in character. You know I am as well. Um, and I don't always get that. The other thing that I don't have to worry about when I play with you is I don't have to worry about the game. And what I mean by that is there's times when I'm playing and other people are running the games where I can't take off my GM hat. And if I see the GM struggling from a pacing perspective, from a I got to get this boulder rolling again perspective, I'll often, be very aware of that and try to jump in, right? To be the helpful PC, because God, I love it when I have them, at my table when I'm running games.
I'm going to
And I just,
investigate the haunted house.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to press the button. Yep. But I don't have to do that when we're playing, which is really cool too.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
good.
it's experience, right? You're very experienced. And I get to really, I spend so much time exploring being a GM and trying to be better at that. And I'm having a lot of fun getting to explore being a better player character. And in fact, one of the things, I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but one of the things that I want to start doing is start getting conversations going on, whether it be the podcast or on the channel, I don't know, but like player advice,
Right.
because there isn't much out there.
No, not much. And there's
Yeah.
so
And
many things to talk about. Yeah.
there really are. And anything that's out there right now, Anthony, is still from the GM's perspective. Right. So how to be a better player for your GM, or how to be, or, how to teach your players. So it's always like this GM centric view. Whereas I think there's some conversations to be had about just how, not how to be a better player, but how to enjoy play more. Right. And how to challenge yourself as a player. We talk about leveling up all the time as GMs. Nobody talks about it for players.
Very few. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I did that long series on the podcast about imagination.
Yep.
Still applicable to the game master, but like, what are you imagining? If so, what and
Right.
why? Is it
Mhm.
because that's how your imagination, like, do you have a limited imagination,
Yeah.
or do you have an overactive imagination? And I mean, we would assume that more imagination would be better, but because gameplay happens at the speed of speech, by the time I've finished, okay, it's cold and there's the smell of rotting carpet. Someone's already imagined the entire house.
Right.
And everything I say from this point is a retcon of what they
Yep.
already imagined. So they don't want to imagine, right? There's a huge area that just never gets explored or talked about.
I agree. And that ties in. One of the things I think you did a good job in that series talking about is the different styles of play, and with the different levels of, not levels of play, because that indicates a hierarchy,
The,
and I don't mean it by a
the
hierarchy.
layers. Yeah.
The layers, right? Of play. And um I love the idea, and I've been doing it with some of my tables, of challenging my players to try playing in a different style. So I'm running Shiver Gothic on the channel right now, and I've got a very experienced group, people that are longtime role players. Because usually I have one or two new people. That is not the case. This is a hand-picked table, and I took the most experienced that I know, and also ones that have played multiple games with me, right? So there's a level of trust and comfort that we all have,
Right. That's
and
important.
it's super important. It allows you to push things, right? Because there's so much else we don't have to worry about. And one of the things I did last session before it, I said, for those that want to, I would love to see everybody stay in first person.
Right.
I would love to hear you not say your character's name. I'd love for everything to be I'm doing this, I'm feeling this, I'm seeing this. Only if you're up for it. Not surprisingly, they're all, yeah, let's try it. And it was really interesting to talk to them afterwards off stream, and the experiences that they had. They all liked it. They all underestimated how hard it was.
Sure. I mean,
because they weren't practiced.
Right. And there are habits to be overcome, like the things that you usually say, the particular shorthand that you have, or whatever,
Yep.
tend to be in. Right. And as the game master also, it's like you can encourage people to start speaking as I by calling them you, because the natural response is I. But why do you want the first person experience? It's closer to the character. It's more immersive. It's more immediate. But if I'm calling you, it's also ambiguous. Which you do I mean? Or, so there's lots of really cool effects. So that's a good experiment to try. Or all third person.
Right. Right. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying there are different types of play. And
Like we
what I
talked about
noticed,
in the GM strategies thing is like, what was the technique? What effect does it have? So why would
right.
I then choose it, right? Because I
Yep.
want that effect. So,
Yeah. Something that I've always done or always tried to do. I can't say I've always accomplished it, but I always try to never use player names when I'm playing. It's always refer to them as their character. Um, to help encourage that. And I'll make a clear delineation when we get out of play. If we have to talk meta, if we have to talk rules or something like that, it's very clear when that happens. What I'm seeing happening with players that are taking me up on this challenge, though, is I'm finding them being less focused on action
right.
and the feeling that they have to act and they have to
Have to
act.
do something.
And
We have to roll some dice now. It's time for a fight. Yeah.
right, right. And I've been pressing them with prompts at sometimes. Like I'll say, boy, Steve, who's your character, Steve, that was a lot. You just went through something that you have never experienced before. Can you give me an idea of what's running through your head right now? So I try to push them into to trying to, to rationalize
Right.
what their characters are thinking and feeling. It's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah. And that pendulum swings, right? It's like
Mhm.
we can externalize the internal and kind of blow our fellow players away with the way that we are conceiving of this character
Mhm.
that we're playing, and also get the feedback, the body language feedback of what that all means to everybody, which is pretty awesome. Or we can go the other way and intentionally think of those things, right? The emotional thing, but articulate nothing that we don't actually articulate.
Yep.
Like, I am surprised,
Yep.
but allow yourself, and I don't mean, you know, acting. I mean, just allow yourself some demonstration of body language.
Mhm.
And if people are able to observe, which is not always possible in the environment that we play in, but if people
Yep.
are able to observe, right, the opportunity to experience kind of is the other end of that spectrum. This is cool stuff.
Yeah, that's very cool. And the other part, I'll say too, is before we came on and started talking, I was telling you how much fun I'm having with Outgunned, which is the
Right.
Two Little Mice action. That has been an incredible palate cleanser for me too, because there's no, you know, Jack Smith feeling this and worried about that. It is just balls to the wall, explosions, car chases,
Right.
and that's been fun too. It's a lot of rolling a shit ton of dice, which
Right.
my games don't usually entail a ton of die rolls. So that's been fun too, but it's because for me that's what that game is built for, right?
Right. Right.
That's what the play is. So I'm also enjoying, I forgot how much I enjoyed that because I've been far away from that in my games. I run mostly horror, and I run very much character driven type games, and player driven type games. It's kind of fun just to
Yeah.
roll a
Yeah.
ton of
Exactly.
dice and come
Well, I
up
mean,
with
that's good player
ridiculous.
advice too. Player and game master advice is to shake it up
Yeah.
every once in a
Yeah.
while.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time early in your morning
Yeah,
to
man.
step into the muddy shoes of the unfortunate Dr. Edward Call Jr. And
Yeah, there's a world somewhere where Edward stayed on the farm. And I think it's probably would have ended up with the happiest Edward has ever been his entire life. But that's not
maybe
this world, so we'll see what happens.
so, so there's a fair amount of stuff that you encountered,
Yeah.
and if you have the time, making some salient notes could speed you on your way the next time you're thrown into Boston in whatever year it happens to be.
Yeah. And I would like to play after you've had a chance to render this. It was very helpful to watch
I bet. Yeah.
last night before playing this morning. So I would love to do that again. But if I have the opportunity to play before that happens, then, let me know. Obviously I'm happy to jump in.
Right. But it'll be close enough in time in that situation that
Cool.
you'll be able to remember. But yeah, this will be out at time of recording probably in 2 weeks. I don't think I'll have time to do it this week, but it'll be out for next week.
Very cool.
Okay.
It's good seeing you, brother.
You too. Take care.
Don't work too hard.